This is day 3 of Slow Tea 101. So the tea of today is the Guo Gan. So Guo Gan is in Myanmar, so it's not strictly speaking poor, but it's made in the same way, made by some of our Taiwanese friends in Taiwan. Tea looks like this, and actually the full cake looks like this. Once it's opened, there you go. Yeah, this I've opened it from the past, from the back, but that's how it looks like. So today I will tell you a little bit more about the steeping duration. Again, I got about 5 grams, as usual. Now my kettle water is at about 90 degrees, so even though this is a young tea, at the moment there's no need for me to make it cooler. But remember, with a younger tea like this, you do want to do about 90 degrees at first. So before we get into the steeping duration a bit more precisely, you might notice that I rinsed the very first tea and I didn't rinse the tea of today and the tea of yesterday. Now, the rule about whether you want to rinse a tea or not is this. If a tea is a show pu'er, that's to say a cooked pu'er, or if a tea is very aged, you do want to rinse it. If a tea is sheng pu'er, raw pu'er, and it's quite new, if you're sure there's no pesticide, there's no need to rinse it. If there may be some, then you probably want to rinse it anyway. So in the young tea we offer, of course, there's no pesticide. And however, in the old teas, we will rinse it anyway, because the tea either is show or the tea is old. The tea has been fermenting for a while, and this means we just want to wash off any of the fermentation residues that may be there. So this tea was perhaps steeped a bit longer than I wanted to as I was talking. Let's see how it is. This is actually okay, but if this was a little bit too strong for my taste, what I can do is simply add a tiny bit of water. Even a little bit will make the taste quite a bit softer. So yeah, if you make too strong of a steep, don't worry, you just add a little bit of water and you can drink it like that. Perfect. Yeah, actually it was like a little bit too strong for my taste at first, and then I put a little bit of water and now it's perfect. So we talk about the arc of brewing. So if you imagine you have a tea, let's imagine it's a tea that is not particularly compressed, so you don't need to make 30 seconds at first to open it up. Let's imagine a tea like this, and let's imagine you steep it for 30 seconds all the time. For 10, you're going to do 10 infusions, all of them at 30 seconds, all of them at 100 degrees, just to make it simpler. What's going to happen is you're going to get this kind of curve. So at first, it's kind of still opening up, it's like this, then it gets really, really strong, and then it kind of declines quite sharply. Now, we don't want to have such a sharp curve. Instead, we want to have a curve that's a little bit more like this. So this means that on steepings, 1, 2, and 3, if it's a young tea, we're going to be at 90 degrees. And then also it means that after steeping 3 or 4, when the tea otherwise would decline quite a lot, we start steeping it for longer and longer. So instead of 30 seconds like this, it's more like 90 degrees, and then maybe 20 seconds at first, 20, and then 30, 40, 50, 60. So you're kind of trying to keep the line of the strength of the tea as steady as possible. Does that make sense? You will experiment. This is something that's only going to make sense after a while when you experiment, but eventually it will. Just keep in mind this idea of the arc of brewing and the curve. It's like you're trying to see a cohesive story of how this tea will evolve, which has more or less always the same strength. So yeah, just think, instead of this, think this. Okay, that was your class for today. Now you can go and try with this tea. This tea is very similar to yesterday's tea, just kind of slightly different flavor, but in terms of age and quality, it's pretty similar. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.